Good morning. My name is Susan Nawberry, hearing officer for San Francisco Public Works. Nathan Rodas is the clerk of this hearing. This hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available afterward through a link on the San Francisco Public Works website, sfpublicworks.org. As this is a virtual hearing, there is no sign-in sheet, so if you'd like to receive information about the results of the hearing, please send an email to the email address listed on the hearing notice. The hearing is to consider the following items. First, we'll take a general public comment for matters not on this agenda. Then we'll hear hearing order 207088. This order supersedes Public Works Order 207076 to consider the notice of violation number 21152. The violation is for no street space permit. Article 15, Section 724A at 1568 Haight Street. Following that, we'll hear Order 207139 to consider a notice of violation number 15064. The violation is for no street space permit. Article 15, Section 724A, improper housekeeping. Article 15, Section 724.4A at 3869 20th Street. Then to consider hearing order 207216 to consider the tentative approval of the following application for a surface mounted facility site permit. Permit 22 SMF 0042, a GTE MobileNet of California limited partnership. And that's on the east side of San Bruno Avenue. Very briefly, so for orders 208088 and 207139, you will send your public comment to Jessica Salami. And then for order 207216, you will send any public comment to smf@sfdpw.org. See. And my job as a hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, help our director of public works make determinations. And I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the director, and the director will make the final determinations. When the director's determinations are made, the department will notify you of them if you provided contact information. And the hearing will proceed as follows. I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I will allow the property owner or the applicant to speak. And then any members of the public, witnesses or appellants of the items, then the department, if the department would like to make clarifying comments and address any issues referring to codes, or if I have any questions for the department, then the department property owner, if the person has a comment, but that will be fairly limited. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. So I ask you to be mindful of that time, and the clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left. If you're a party to proceeding, I will call on you to speak. And if you'd like to use visual materials and presentation, please let us know before you speak, and you'll have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. And if you're a member of the public or witness who wants to speak, please wait for me to call on public comment. Then use the Zoom raise your hand function. And if you're dialing on your phone, please dial *9 to indicate that you're raising your hand and *6 to unmute, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of the hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question, and after all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing. And may I have Public Works for, actually, can we take public comment for any issues not on this agenda? Matters that are within the department's jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. Are there any people that would like to make public comment for that? Okay. I see no hands. So may I please have the department make its presentation on order 207088.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Salome. I'll be presenting for the department for the two orders for the notice of violation. Can you go to the next slide, please, Christina? Next slide, Christina.
One second. Let's see.
So on Friday, July 15th, 2022, around 10:30 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding temporary fencing and a toolbox at 1568 H Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found a temporary fence and toolbox on the sidewalk without a permit. The inspector issued a correction notice number 21152 to the property owner for no street space permit and to obtain a permit or remove the fence and the toolbox within 72 hours. On Thursday, July 21st, around noon, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection and the items were not removed. The inspector issued notice of violation 21152 on Friday, July 22nd, 2022 at $1,000 per day. On Tuesday, August 9th, 2022, around 1:30, the inspector performed another follow-up inspection and found the fence and toolbox still within the public right-of-way. Final inspection on Tuesday, August 16th, showed the fence and toolbox were removed. The inspector closed out the notice of violation with the final penalty of $24,000. On the next slide, we have the appeal letter. And on the next slide, we have the notice of violation and correction notice that were issued. And the next slide, we have the initial photos from when the notice was posted on the property, as well as the fencing and the toolbox on the right of way without a permit. And the next slide, we have our follow-up photos. And in the next slide, we have another follow-up photo with the fencing and the toolbox still within the right of way without a permit posted. And in the next slide, we have everything removed. In the next slide, we have the invoice. That's it for me.
Could you go back to the first photo of the fence and the, actually page 6, the fence and the toolbox? Okay. Let's see. May I see the, sorry, the 715 slide as well? Okay. I see. And then the notice is posted behind that fence there on the picture on the right?
It's posted on the wall, correct?
Okay, and it's also mailed to the address on file?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. That's all the questions I have.
Okay.
Is the appellant here?
Yes, I believe so.
Trisha, are you the appellant?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you may go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to state that I am one of the property owners. I share the ownership with 2 other family members. This particular building has been vacant for almost 2 years now. The prior tenant was a bar, which went under during the pandemic. We had a excessive problem with homeless people camped out in front of this building, peeing, defecating, graffiti everywhere. It became a very difficult problem. I contacted the police department. I talked with social services at certain times to try to get the people to move along. Occasionally they would move down to the next building, but then they would come back. We had excessive amount of graffiti. I paid to have a mural painted in order to cover up the graffiti after I had boarded up the windows and tried to secure the building so that nobody could break in. This was over a 2-year period. I finally have a new tenant who is going to take over the space. He is the one that would have put up the fence, but I do believe he is unaware that there was a permit required. He did this in order to gain access to the building. It became a recurring problem of homeless people, graffiti being tagged, and having to clean up after it. As far as the notification process, we were gone from July 21st to August 19th. I will state that the inspection may have been done on July 15th. A letter was not sent to me. It was postmarked July 27th. Again, it would have arrived while I was out of town. So I didn't receive the notification until August 17th. Had no opportunity to respond to this, to reach out to the tenant about this. When I did get the notification, I did reach out to the tenant who was unaware of the violation. He indicated he had no knowledge of it, and certainly would have addressed it at that time. We just were not given ample time to respond to this, I guess, ultimately. We had, by the time the notification came, it had already been invoiced. I reached out, I emailed the department right away. I spoke to Miguel on the phone, who then put me in touch with you to try to discuss this. But this is a business that is trying to open, has spent time, money, and energy in the renovations. This is a financial hardship for them. And again, I don't feel we were given, the proper time to respond to this. It wasn't our intent to do something that required a permit. We didn't understand that. I do have the tenant available to speak right now to address the issues that he was having with the homeless and the taggers. Again, the city, we contacted the police department, social services. We received no assistance from them regarding those issues, and they became health issues too, as you can imagine. The San Francisco Police Department told me as long as the building is not open for business, that we had no way of addressing this. It was out of our hands. So I feel the fine, also from the photos, I believe the photo from July 21st shows that they were taking down the fencing. I know they had to remove the boarded up windows, they had to paint the building. So all of that was in process as well. And I feel that the fine is just excessive and is going to be a financial hardship for the tenant. Cyril is the tenant, if he's available and can speak.
Go ahead, Cyril. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you, sir.
We can
Go
hear
ahead.
you.
hear me?
Yes, Mr. Hackett, go ahead.
Oh, good morning. Yes, good morning. Good morning, all. I'd just like to follow up on what Tricia said, that this fence was erected as a safety issue because of the problems we were having. I took over the tenancy here, and we were trying to access the building. Every morning we would go to the building. We encountered 3, 4, 5 homeless people camped out there with all of their belongings. The place was just like Baghdad. It was just incredible how dirty it was, how unsafe it was. Every single morning we would have to ask the people, wake the people and ask them to move aside so we could get access to the door of the building. I spoke 3 different, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I spoke on 3 different occasions with the San Francisco Police Department, and they informed me that they could not do anything, that their hands were tied, that it now had been transferred out of their, this issue had been transferred out of their power, and that it was with a different department, street services or something like that, who did come a few times. I think it was it was an outreach group. I then proceeded to call the city, the 311 hotline, on the numerous mornings that people had defecated and just pulled down their pants and did it right in front of the building, both water and solids, and this was needles. I went as far as to take a video on the 3rd of March, outlining this, and it was dangerous for us every morning having to do this because you would awaken these people and they were high on drugs, whatever, and some were aggressive, and not all, but some were definitely aggressive, and was, who the hell were we trying to get into this building? Like, they had taken it over pretty much. In the meantime, Patricia had gone and spoken with a graffiti artist who in order to clean the building up, offered to, Patricia paid for, have her put a new mural on there, and within 2 days it blasted out again with graffiti and whatnot. But the big issue was the homelessness, and when people realized in the neighborhood, the business owners realized in the neighborhood that I was taking over, they came to me, and their main concern was how we were going to remove the homelessness. And it was my main concern too, because they'd been camped out there it was the worst part of Haight Street. And it was just complete mess the whole time. So yes, we decided to put up a fence. And as you can see from the fence, it was only about 2 feet out, plenty of room for people to get by. And basically, I could not get any help from the city. I could not get any help from the department. I'm paying rent, and I'm trying to access the building for safety reasons, both my health and our safety. And we put a fence up, and immediately I have the before and after pictures. I have the before and after videos showing. I had 5 different business owners come to me and personally thank me for putting up the fence. And in my own small way.
Excuse me, sir. Could you remind for wrapping up? Your time is up. But just go ahead and wrap up, please.
Well, I would like to submit the video that I have of the 3rd of March, the 3rd, showing the extent of the problem with all the homelessness and their graffiti, not the graffiti, their baggage. And I mean, if it was bags and suitcases, no problem, but this was not. This was an ongoing thing for months and months and months. And finally, my only recourse was to put up this fence. And immediately the problem, I wouldn't say immediately, but pretty soon the problem was resolved, because they could no longer sit in front of the building. And the city should compliment me as opposed to fine me for putting this up. Because if you see the before and after photographs, I know that the neighbors, the business owners in the neighborhood thanked me personally. And to me, that says more than anything else, that I'm a businessman in the neighborhood. I'm trying to improve the neighborhood. And I'm very conscious. I'm very respectful of the police department, the city departments. And when I was getting no help I totally understand the position the police were in. I don't have an issue with the police, no problem. But they could not do anything. They sympathized. They came into the building with me. The police officers came inside the
Sir,
building with me.
do
Yes.
you mind wrapping up, please? You're way over the
Okay.
time
I
limit
believe that
already,
this,
so
I believe this,
understand you want to share everything, but you just.
okay, I believe the fine is excessive, and this should be, I'd like to submit the video that I have, the before and after.
Yes,
And-
you can. You can on the notice, you can send that video and they'll send that video to me.
You said the news?
In
The news would love this video.
in that notice you received, or in the hearing notice you received, if you email, or if you just email Jessica Salami, she'll send me the video as well. So
Maybe I'll send it to Jessica, and I'll also send it to
yeah.
Channel 2. Channel 2, Channel 4, and Channel 5. This is excessive and ridiculous.
I have a question for the tenant. Two questions. You went to the building almost every day or on a weekly basis?
As time went on, not every day, no, not every day, but when we wanted to do some work, because initially we were doing you know, some measurements and things like that, so not every day, but
Okay.
you know, once, twice a week initially. We actually stopped going there. We actually stopped going there and did another job because of how dangerous it was and how difficult it was to get in. I couldn't allow my workers to access the building on their own. I had to be there.
I mean, it appears that the notice posted on the building while work is happening. Did no one see that notice?
No, I did not see that notice. The first notification I got was from the landlord, Tricia.
My second question is, have you done work in the city before?
Yes, I've done work in San Francisco.
Okay. Have you ever received any sort of like permit, street space permit, or notice of violation before?
I don't think this is relevant to this case.
Oh, have you had to pull a street space permit before for previous work in the right of way?
Yes, I've lived in San Francisco for 40 years,
Okay.
and I have pulled permits for various projects, various businesses. Yes, I'm aware of the city. I'm aware of the city. Yes, I have pulled permits.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of the public who'd like to comment on this item? Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself. If not, I'll close this item and I will move on to hearing order 207139 to consider a notice of violation 15064. May I have the department make its presentation, please?
Good morning, Jessica Salami, Public Works again. Order number 207139. Next slide, please. On Monday, March 28th, 2022, around 11 a.m., the inspector responded to a complaint regarding the construction work at 3869 20th Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found scaffolding placed without a permit and graffiti on a porta potty and scaffolding. The inspector issued correction notice number 15064 for a permit to be obtained and remove the graffiti within 72 hours. On Monday, April 4th, around noon, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection. As the graffiti was not removed, nor was a permit posted, the inspector issued notice of violation 15064 to the property owner for no street space permit and improper housekeeping at $2,000 per day. A final inspection on Monday, May 9th, 2022 showed the graffiti was abated and permit signs were posted, so the inspector closed out the notice of violation. The final penalty of $24,000. Further research about the permit showed that application number 22-23-2000904 was submitted on April 4th, 2022 at 11:10 a.m. The penalty for no street space permit of $12,000 we're willing to waive. Next slide, please. This is the appeal letter from Max Wintraub. Excuse my pronunciation of your last name. As well as a copy of the street space permit and a duplicate copy of the correction notice that was posted. Next slide, please. Copy of the correction notice and notice of violation. Initial site photos showing scaffolding and the graffiti on the porta potty. Follow-up inspection on the 4th, same photos. Follow-up inspection on May 9th, signs posted and the graffiti somewhat abated. And a copy of the invoice that was sent out. And I'm done.
Can you go back to the slide referencing the $12,000 permit fee? I think it might be one more before this. Okay,
So the permit was submitted on April 4th at 11:10 a.m.
okay.
So we're willing to waive the no street space permit issues.
Okay, but there's still
Housekeeping issues.
housekeeping issues. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. That answers my question. Is the appellant here?
Hi, yes, this is Max Weintraub, the owner of the building.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you for showing that we submitted the parking permit and waiving that fee. As far as the graffiti on our scaffolding, I guess we were under the impression that our main permits that we pulled for a renovation covered the scaffolding as well. This property is right next to Dolores Park. And we did have an issue where people would graffiti on the scaffolding. We would cover it, and the following day there would be more graffiti on the scaffolding. It was not a very messy area. We had it blocked off, but there was still, 7 to 10 feet of sidewalk that someone could walk by and not be obstructed by the scaffolding whatsoever. The porta potty was always underneath the scaffolding and near the garage, so it was not in the sidewalk as well. And we just, felt like we had done everything in our power to be able to keep the scaffolding to the side and felt like it was a clean construction zone. We immediately got the parking permit. When we realized we needed it, we thought that the original permit, we weren't required to get a street parking spot, and the construction workers were able to park one truck in front of the property and not take any other spots most of the time. So we had no issues with parking and did not know that we needed the parking permits. Once we did know we needed that, we did obtain it and post it.
Thank you. Who's the contractor for that set up the scaffolding?
His name is Victor. He is also on the line here. He is part of Brighter Bay Construction Inc. Maybe that might not be the exact name. Hold on. Brighter Bay Builders is the name of his company, and he should be on this call as well.
Thank you. Victor, would you like to provide public comment? Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, as the owner mentioned, we were working with planning department to change the windows, and we were not having necessary to have a street parking for. We used to do many construction in San Francisco, and we used to have the street parking for our trucks to we need the space, right, for the cars. In this case, we have the across the street is the Dolores Park, and we didn't have any issue with the parking because we have plenty of parking. We don't have neighbor at the front, and we have plenty of parking over there. We consider in this case that we were since we have a lot of room for the window installation, and we got the narrow scaffolding, and also there is a recess space in the garage for the toilet, and we didn't thought we need to have street parking to accommodate things on the sidewalk. It's like a there is not exactly permit for the scaffolding since we are including everything on the building permit for plumbing, electrical, building. Everything is we try to pay everything at the beginning, except in the street parking because we thought we didn't need it. But as soon as we were aware that the street parking will resolve the issue for the scaffold, we do it as soon as we could, and we saw that the NOV, the notice of violation, was issued on May 26th, but by that time we already have removed everything. The work was done. This area was clean, and we submit the application on April 4, and until May 15th it was done, and we remove everything. But we saw that the notice of violation is still going, and there was nobody we can have the power to talk. I talked to inspector. We talked to inspector. We talked to different people in public work, and nobody was able to go in the system to take some information from us, and that things we feel that it was just keep going, and yeah, there was not in our power to do anything else to make sure that our information was being here from the city.
Mr. Funes, do you mind just wrapping up, please? Your time is up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I'm requesting on this is we want to see if we can avoid to have that penalty, and in case because I'm a general contractor, I should be aware about everything. I'm totally conscious about that. But I would like to see if there is any penalty, remove it from the owner and pass it to me, because we need to have a sidewalk excavation for a new sprinkler line that we have to bring to the house. And because that notice of violation, we can obtain the general excavation permit. And I know the owner is not his fault to be in this issue. And if there is nothing to do to remove this notice of violation, I just wanted to be passed on me, but also to have payments I cannot afford to pay in full that notice of violation, but we want to resolve it, and there are work pending because that situation, there's work pending on that property that we have to do. And I don't want to penalize the client because at the end, he's the one in that hard situation right now. And but I think in our power, we did everything that we could do to resolve the issue. And there is an ongoing situation in this in the city that is really hard to comply with everything when the other people is vandalizing the area, and you just you don't know.
Yes,
It
thank
is
you.
yeah,
I have
there are
a
many-
question for you. So when the inspectors mail the notices and they also put the NOV on the building, I can see that the scaffolding is still there and the notice is on that building. Did no one see the notice on the building there in that photo? It's on the white, it's like on the white pillar there,
and
right there. Yeah, where the mouse is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the notice, did nobody who went on site see the notice of violation posted on March 28th?
let me see. It was placed in what area? The Max, I
right-
think.
Yeah,
You-
so it's in the front where the white pillar is. You see where
Mhm.
Public Works is pointing their mouse?
Susan, can I jump in here too, real quick?
Sure.
My inspector also tried to give it to one of the workers on site that they refused to sign it. So the notice was posted onto the property itself.
Okay, thank you.
If you zoom into the correction notice, you can see where they wrote in refused to sign.
I see.
Uh,
Victor, do you often do scaffolding in San Francisco?
Not often. Yeah, I used to have scaffold contractors, but I don't do it myself. But of course, yeah, we used to have scaffolds on the site and street parking all together. But yes, I'm that's why I'm if there is something that is wrong, it's gonna be on me, not on the owner. And that sometimes the workers refuse to sign because sometimes they are not my workers, or there are temporary workers that are not on the site, or just for some contractors that just go there and maybe they felt that they were not the right person to sign the order.
And none of those workers informed you that they received this notice? Or that it
And-
was posted on the building?
So sometimes, like I said, there are workers that just go there for different subcontractors, and I wasn't aware until Max he told me he saw it and he forwarded to me, and I started to do the things as soon as I was aware about that corrections. We started doing the things. And what was I'm wondering what the same date the notice I think there was some was canceled, then the NOB was issued, because we have I think there were two things on it's a little bit confused for us because in that notice of violation, there are two. One is the CN 15064 that on May 26 appeared to be canceled, but at the same date, the NOV was issued. I'm not sure if they
Jessica, could you explain what was canceled versus what was issued?
Yeah, so what happened was our system created a duplicate. So we canceled out one of the duplicates and we still had one valid correction notice and notice violation still in the system.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but that time, we have even removed the scaffolding, and the work was done for the window.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other public comments from anybody who hasn't spoken? Okay, if there are no more public comments, then I will close this item. And I will move on to hearing order 207-216 to consider the tentative approval of the following application for a surface mounted facility site permit 22 SMF 00042. May I have the department make its presentation, please?
Can you hear me? I'm trying to share my screen.
Yes, thank you. And anyone who, anyone who, you don't have to stay on for the previous two items because no decisions will be made at the hearing today.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Good morning. I'm Leo Palacios, representing San Francisco Public Works, Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. Surface mounted facilities are utility facilities that are installed directly in the public sidewalk above the street. Public Works issues service mounted facility permits for standalone personal wireless service facilities under Public Works Code Article 27 and Public Works Order 206-293. Public Works Bureau of Street Use and Mapping has scheduled this hearing for GTE MobileNet of California Limited Partnership, which is also known as Verizon Wireless, for a surface mounted facility application 22 SMF 00042. The application is for a standalone pole for a personal wireless service facility at east side of San Bruno Avenue between 3rd Street, Girard Street, and Campbell Avenue. So the issue in this hearing is whether Public Works should approve Verizon Wireless waiver of the pre-application approval process and Verizon Wireless proposed location for its standalone pole for a personal wireless service facility. As authorized under Public Works Order 206-293, Section 3D, Public Works approved Verizon Wireless request to waive the Article 27's community meeting requirement after finding that the application met the criteria for a waiver contained in Public Works Order 206-293, Sections 3D1 and 2. In particular, Public Works found under Section 3D1 that there are no existing utility poles or other poles Verizon Wireless could use to install its personal wireless service facility within a 200-foot radius of Verizon Wireless proposed location. The proposed location is not within 200 foot of an existing personal wireless service facility in the public right-of-way. The proposed location meets the placement criteria for standalone poles, and the proposed personal wireless service facility meets the design criteria. So after weighing in the criteria in Section 3D2, Public Works also found that on balance, they support granting the waiver. Those criteria are the proposed location for a standalone pole is optimal location for Verizon to meet its service needs in the immediate vicinity. Verizon Wireless made reasonable efforts to demonstrate whether one or more other telecommunications service providers have a need for a personal wireless service facility within 200 feet of the proposed location, and the proposed location is in close proximity to the point of connection for power to minimize trenching. Therefore, the Bureau of Street Use and Mapping allowed Verizon Wireless to mail and post a notice of hearing on waiver for surface mounted facility site permit to obtain a surface mounted facility permit for a standalone personal wireless service facility, as required by Public Works Code and Public Works Order 206293, as shown in Verizon Wireless signed affidavits. This notice was sent to persons owning or occupying property within 300 feet either side of proposed location, mailed to neighborhood associations within 300 feet, and posted in conspicuous places within 300 feet of either side of the proposed location. Public Works received one protest to Verizon Wireless proposal. So the protest that we received addresses concerns about RF emission. As required by 10A2 of Verizon Wireless, submitted a report from an engineer showing that the emissions from the proposed personal wireless service facility will be below the FCC standards. I'll be here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the protester here? The person who submitted the one protest?